Mike, I have a new way of watching Penn State. I lay in my recliner, mute the TV, and just every now and then glance up. And I was encouraged by the results I was seeing.
That's a good approach to life. Every now and then, glance up.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, I was encouraged. I saw number 7 behind center and number 5 behind center. I thought, I've been saying for weeks, give me anybody but McGloin out there and Bolden. I like the Wildcat. I think it was a different look. It caught Ohio State off guard.
Absolutely.
I just think it added something to this offense that, as I read in your grades on the Penn State football page, I think it made the offense every bit as good as the defense for the first time this year.
Yeah, especially in the first half. In the second half, they got into that old milk the 6-point lead all the way home mode, and of course that horrendous play calling down at the goal line, which was very vintage, as I wrote in the story, very vintage Penn State 1978, and I think made it a lot more difficult to get that win than it should have been. It was just indefensible to me and amazing. And I'm disappointed. Tom Bradley, I like almost everything that he's done and said since he's taken over as sort of the quasi head coach. But one thing I did not like is this idea that we're just going to run 4 times into the line as kind of a show of toughness and macho and attitude. And
how'd that work out for
I
you?
ask you guys to go to the wall, so I'm going to the wall for you. No. But otherwise, it was Penn State's best win of the year, best performance of the year, I thought. And the Wildcat had a lot to do with it. The Wildcat was a really inspired thing to do. You don't see teams adding something that significant on week 11. You just don't see that, and clearly Ohio State wasn't prepared for it. Why would they be? How would they be? It worked.
The week before Nebraska took away their run, in this case, it just added this whole dimension. Again, go back to the goal line for 1 second. It reminded me of way back in the early 80s with the Penn State playing Alabama when they were 1-2, whatever, and Penn State had the same thing happen where Alabama knew what they were going to do. It's like, guys,
beyond my ability to comprehend anything.
And they've recruited better athletes at Penn State recently. Why couldn't you just let somebody sweep out on one of those plays?
Hard to understand.
Okay, I thought they could beat Ohio State. Ohio State's down a little bit this year. All the sanctions, all the problems, losing their coach.
Yeah, no question.
I thought they should have won last week against Nebraska. Obviously a close game. They're right where some people thought they'd be. I think maybe you thought that a couple of these games could have. Your record's close to what you thought. I think maybe you had one more loss.
They've done better than I thought they were going to do. Although there's only one game that I predicted wrong so far, so they're not not off by much.
Right,
not off by much.
Can they beat the Badgers this week? What do you think?
I don't think they're going to. I think Wisconsin is the best team in the Big Ten. I think they're one of the 5 or 6 best teams in the country, to be honest with you. I think they had a real lapse. They had a real tough spot in their schedule where they had to go to Michigan State. They lost on almost a freakish thing on literally the last play of the game. And I think it took them a week to recover from that, and they lost to Ohio State, who they absolutely had no business losing to. So they're so close, I think, to being right in the hunt for the national championship. Mm-hmm. I really think they're clearly the best team in the Big Ten. I think they're clearly better than Penn State. And I also like the psychology of this from Wisconsin's point of view a lot better than I do from Penn State. I think there's a little piece of Penn State's inside their players where they have to be thinking, after winning last week, we've had a good season now. I mean, there's a little, I think there's a little teeny bit of self-satisfaction that could be sneaking in, whereas Wisconsin has to win this game to meet what it regards to be as its potential, and they're at home. The Las Vegas line on this game opened at 18.5.
Oh, wow.
Which was bad, and it started going down pretty quick, but I'm kind of with Vegas. I think Wisconsin is a pretty prohibitive favorite here.